to leave them free to make
Yeah.
questions, to make their chat, and
Yeah.
I get in here just solving problems. That's the way I do it.
Yeah, that sounds
Connection
good.
problems.
It's much better for them to also ask whatever they feel like, because then it's a more natural conversation.
That's it. That's it. It's just a small
So
call.
can you see at the back of Bobby your guitar? Are you seeing
Yeah,
it?
I can see that.
And that used
It's
to be.
yours.
No, it's not his guitar anymore. It's my guitar.
Well, I'm definitely not gonna play it in a very long time.
That's here. That's here.
Yeah.
Just to waiting for you. Meanwhile, it serves as a decoration spot because I would like to. I start to learn it, but I never finished the course. But
Yeah.
I'd
The
love to play the guitar, any musical instrument, but that's not the case.
I thought
Yeah.
about putting a guitar up in my office because I have another one, the ones that you guys brought up here to Norway. But then I realized that I have to do something, and then I'll do that later.
That's it. Um, that's it. So waiting the guys. Let me see if anyone has a problem to connection. I always have to have the invitation here.
Hmm.
It's not 1 p.m. already.
Not
Not yet.
yet.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
not so.
But for me now, I got here a little bit early. Then I had to log in on Zoom and stuff. It was a little bit
Hmm.
take a couple of minutes, especially if you are there just on time.
Yep. And you know Brazilians, don't you?
I've never heard of them. You
My
say that.
sorry. No, mine
You say that.
laughs.
But, you're
Just
always early
mine is
for
always
everything.
laughing. Huh? Mine is always laugh.
You say that Brazilians are always late, but you are always early for everything, Mom. You can't
Yes, I
say.
am. I'm not
And you're
a
Brazilian.
typical Brazilian person.
Yeah.
And you,
One of
Delto,
the,
where are you? Are you driving yet? Delto?
Maybe he's in
Delto?
the on the
No,
beach.
no, he's next last class he was at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice.
I
And you, Delto, have been.
was in mute.
Where are you? Are you at the beach now?
Not this time, but the idea is go this afternoon because the summer. I don't know, but someone asked me many questions about the intensive summer in Canada, but not here. Maybe 3,000 kilometers away from here.
Uh,
Here, summer is not good.
no? Why not?
Not raining a lot
Oh,
every morning, 12, 13 degrees.
ah.
Ooh.
Oh,
Today is
this,
the best day.
but
9
this is high
today.
summer in Canada.
No,
13
no.
degrees is high summer in Canada.
Canada is hot. It's hot in summer.
Which part of Canada are you in?
But this summer, I don't know what's happened. So different. Right?
Cassandra Guiar. What part in Canada? He is from Cassandra Guiar is connecting.
My friends, my friend.
Okay, that's it. It's been our friend also. Hi, Cassandra.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank
Hi,
you very
Cass.
much. How are you doing?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Please meet Mjchel, Marcel. I guess Thiago, you know.
Yes.
Yep.
Let me see. Bob, você pode mandar o link de hoje, por favor? Yes. The link, please. I'm solving some problems in here. You can make the introductions, okay? You can start talking, no problem. Okay,
Yes.
I'm starting to
I'm not
solve
sure who
problems.
you're talking to. Are you talking to me, Iago, Marcia?
Hi, Carol. What are you saying?
Marcia first.
I think I'm the people here who know you for a longer time. Yeah.
Probably.
Mjchel is living in Norway. 8 years this year, 8 years from now. Yeah, 80
I think
years.
so, yeah.
Yeah. And he went there to study his doctorship, and he stayed. It was not planned, I think, but he
Yes, it
stayed.
was. I always wanted to. Yes. When I moved here, my plan was not to go back to Brazil. I was quite excited to live abroad, to see other places, and I'm quite glad that I did. It's quite fun being in different environments.
Yeah, a
And
quite different environment.
yes, I think there are a lot of differences, but it's mostly on the small things. So, for instance, for me, one of the biggest things, obviously, the weather, because it's much colder here. But at the same time, for instance, now it's summer and then it's 20 degrees outside, and I'm barely withstanding the summer because it's so hot. But the difference is that the houses here they're made to be hot, and
Mhm.
in Brazil, houses are made to be cold. So some winter in Brazil, I feel much colder than the winter here,
Yeah,
and summer here, I feel much hotter than the summer in Brazil.
yeah. We are
So
not prepared for winter here.
Hi
yes.
guys,
Hey,
Hi.
Hi,
Carol. How
Carol.
have you been?
I'm
Please meet
fine and you?
Michelle. Please
Nice
meet
to
Hi
meet you.
Michelle.
Michelle,
And
Marcia
that
and
is
Yago.
Carol.
I already know.
Yes.
Elto is
So
there. Cassandra Guiar is there. Be welcome, Cassandra.
Thank you
Okay.
very much.
So you can open your camera, and I'd like to see your face. Huh? We would like to see your face. Okay. If the hair is messy, no problem. Okay.
Okay. I just need to turn the lights on. Just a second.
Okay, no problem. Hey, there she
I feel
is.
that's for me. I feel that's for me. Yesterday I told Bob that I was looking like a crazy woman because my hair was like this.
I
Yeah,
am this way every day.
dealing with hair is like a real problem.
Yeah.
Dennis Romão, Dennis is in there. Dennis is in the pedaço. Huh? Now, if you want someone to talk, that's the guy.
Yeah.
He speaks more than the mulher da cobra. Edivaldo.
So he is
Edivaldo,
the man da cobra.
the man da cobra. There. How you doing, Dennis?
hello.
Hello,
Have you
guys.
been?
How
Hello.
are you, man? How are you
Okay.
guys?
Hi, Dennis.
Okay, I'm okay. Hello. Hi, Marcia. How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
Fine. Just fine. I work. I, I only work here in my home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't take any class
Uh,
this week. I'm gonna kill him.
yes, Bob, I'm so sorry, but yesterday
Didn't take any
I worked.
class.
I worked all day.
I
Me
know how
too.
you feel, Dennis. I know how you feel.
Me too.
Yes.
I worked all day long yesterday. Oh, no, I don't believe
Yesterday
it.
and the day before and the day
Yes.
before.
Vinny is in the Vinny is Alessandro's son. Okay, this guy is an
Yeah.
athlete. He plays handball.
Oh,
Nice.
Ah.
Nice.
Hey, Vinny. Edivaldo, where are you,
Vini is
Edivaldo?
connecting out.
I'm fine.
Fine.
Is you?
Fine, everything is all right. Open the camera so we can see your face. Yeah, that's Michelle in red. This is gonna be, he's gonna give us the honor today of being interviewed, to be the star of this small talk. So, people, Feel à vontade. Alessandro is entering. Okay. Yeah.
So, hello everyone that just joined. My name is Mjchel. I am Marcia's son, and right now I'm living in Norway. I have been living here for about 8 years. And if, for instance, if I'm speaking too fast, just please let me know, and then I'll try to slow down, repeat what I said. Don't feel any stress about speaking. For instance, if there's a word that you don't know, you can just say it in Portuguese, but and then we can help you to translate and to get it everything known. So yes, as mentioned before, I have been here in Norway for about 8 years. And the first thing that I was talking about, of course, is the weather. Is the first thing that everybody asks about. Living in Norway, how cold is there? Do you see snow? And yes, 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 it's very cold here sometimes. Now I moved to a smaller town in the countryside, and then here during winter gets to minus 25, 30, so it can get quite cold. But now during summer I get to up to 25, 30 ish, and then inside the house can be up to 40. So what I was saying before, the houses here, they are made to be warm, they are made to keep the heat inside. And then now I had to buy an air conditioner because I couldn't deal with it. Yeah.
Wow.
So do you guys have any questions specifically about Norway or about living abroad? Just feel free to ask me.
Go on, people. It's your turn. Dennis, go on, Dennis.
Oh, okay. Hi, Michelle. Nice to meet
Hello.
you. My name is Dennis. First of all, I'd like to announce me. The first, I am Dennis. I am working with insurance in an insurance big company in Brazil. I am actuary. I don't know if you know what is actuary. And in this moment, I have been passed in the moment of my job because my job changed a lot of leader, a lot of head. So nowadays I work a lot.
Yeah.
And I have two kids. Son, I don't know if here next to me. I have two kids. Son, his name is Yuri. He's 11 years older. And my daughter, she is, she's name is Larissa, and she is 7 years older.
Yeah, Larissa is the hurricane in the house.
Yes, of course, yes. She's terrible, but she's a kid. That's normal.
She's the hurricane in the house.
The first question, I'd like to know, what do you do in the Norway? You're professional, or I don't know, if you, what do you do there?
Yes. I moved to Norway. First, I did my bachelor in Brazil and master's in Brazil. And then I moved to do my doctorship here. I always worked on the maritime industry, so working mostly with ship and making autopilots for ships. And then now that I finished studying here about 4 years ago, then I started working at the company Rolls-Royce, making autopilots for ships. And then now our division got bought by another a Norwegian company called Kongsberg, and I'm working for Kongsberg ever since. One good thing is that I managed to do some home office, so now I moved to my fiance's hometown, and I've been working with ship simulation for ever since I graduated, so 4 years ago. It's a quite fun field, and it's definitely not something that it's that popular. It's not something that no one grows up thinking I'm gonna make ship simulation. But it's a quite interesting field. I quite like it. Personally, I really, really do enjoy it. If I may, I was talking about, for instance, working from home. One thing that's quite nice here in Norway, and everybody was talking about working a lot lately. One thing that in Norway I really admire compared, for instance, to Brazil. When I was in Brazil, I was working for a consultancy company for a little bit, and then working 60 hours a week. And then they were saying like, "Oh, why are you going home so early? It's only 10 p.m. Are you on vacations or what?" And people always demanding that you work more and more, and always basically give every single minute that you have. And here, on the other hand, they really respect that you have your private time and that you have family time. So, for instance, if you have a kid that's in the kindergarten and you're in the middle of a meeting, you just say, "Oh, I have to go and pick up my kids at the kindergarten." And everybody's like, "Okay, just go and have a good time and good luck with that. Have a good dinner." And nobody thinks that you're making excuses or being lazy. They always assume that you're being honest and truthful. And then you can basically, if you have, let's say, if I want to take a week off next week at work, and then I just tell my boss, as long as there's nothing very urgent at work, he'll just say like, "Yeah, no problems, just go." So people here are much more conscious about letting you, not making over work take your time. So it's very popular that basically everyone has some kind of hobby. Um, the city that I lived before, there was a local orchestra, and then half of my coworkers played either violin or tuba or something on the orchestra. So everybody kind of has something on the side.
Okay.
Go on, people. Go on, Cassandra, Carol, Michelle. There is a guy, Edivaldo. Edivaldo, it's going to be our student. Okay, soon. Hey,
Hi,
Alessandro, have been. And he asked you about your job,
Uh, about what? Sorry.
about your job. What do you do for
Yes.
living?
Yes.
It,
I don't know if you were here when I was talking about it, but making simulation for the maritime industry. So basically, boat simulation, making autopilots for ships. This is basically my job, and working for a company that has, I don't know, 8,000 people working in it. But my specialty is boat simulation, both on the maneuver part, going how it behaves in water, but also the electric system of the ship. So generators, if there's enough power here, how the propulsion system work. I can go more into details on that if you guys want, but I think it's a very specific, and I think it's kind of boring. Whenever people ask me more about it, and I see that after a while they're like, "Okay, okay, I get it. I don't really like it."
It's not
Edivaldo,
something common in Brazil. It's not
Edivaldo,
really common.
Definitely not something common.
ele trabalha na indústria naval, né? Ele faz simuladores de cabines para navios e essas coisas. Ele falou que não vai entrar em muitos detalhes porque acaba se tornando muito técnico e muito chato, né? Se for
Mas ele
muito
mexe majoritariamente com software? Ou ele...
Even in Portuguese.
He is asking if you just work with software or hardware also.
Yes, I work mostly with software now. So I work, for instance, programming the autopilots themselves and programming everything that goes in the simulation. In a way, you can say that's very similar to game development. So, for instance, making a simulator for a real system or making a video game, it's not that different the way that it behaves. Because basically, let's say any video game that has cars or airplanes or boats, it's absolutely the same thing. The only difference is that we don't take shortcuts on the behavior of the system. So, for instance, on video games, usually stuff can behave in a simple way, but on ships, for instance, if there's a wave, I want the ship to move according to how the wave will be, and then there are a lot of simulations and analysis behind that. So that's mostly the part that I do. It's software related. There's a little bit of hardware because I worked with a few simulators that we delivered to clients, and then I was in Germany for about a week to make sure that everything was working correctly, and then that the real system levers we had there, so to control the propulsion. You basically have levers that you move back and forward. And then I was also installing those and making sure that they were working correctly. I think if the questions are in the chat, I can also read them, so don't worry about that, Bob.
How old are you?
I had to think about it, sorry. I am 33 now. Soon I'm gonna turn 34. But yes, I have been here ever since I was 24, I guess.
10 years.
Marcia, do you know that? Marcia?
It's a question for a
muted.
mom.
Yeah.
It's a really question
You're
for a
muted,
mom.
Mom. She knows that better than me. She keeps track. I don't.
Tem o quê? Uns 30 anos, é? Não entendi, não.
Pode falar em
Yeah.
português, se quiser, que eu entendo sim. Eu...
Kinda. Mas é isso mesmo. Okay?
Yeah, when you moved.
Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry.
okay, go on.
No, go ahead, please.
Okay, I was going to ask you about the kind of job you do. So you are a programmer, a developer, and your basic job is to develop systems or simulators for ships. So do you teach people how to drive the ship? I don't know if the word for this, the verb for the activity.
Yes. To become captain, for instance, to sail to, I think sail would be the right word. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's the right word.
It's not something that I do personally, but I work with, I think I can share here. If you give me 1 minute.
Sure.
Let me do something here. Just a minute. Now everyone is allowed to share anything.
Basically, I am working with some of my colleagues. They are instructors, and then they teach new captains. Let me see if this link works. I'm sending here in chat. Is that okay, Bob?
Yeah.
So I sent here in chat is a link to an image of the simulator that I worked when I was in my previous town. It's basically a room that you have all of the equipment that you have on board of the ship. So that one was when I was working a lot with the hardware. But basically everything that you see displayed on the walls, there are a lot of projectors going on there. And then that part wasn't me, but I'm making everything that communicates with that. So making the control system, the ship dynamics, everything on that area, then that's what I did.
Nice.
But then, for instance, on that department, we have a lot of people that do sales and training. And then they ask me, or my group specifically, if they need anything specific. So for instance, if they want to put a new ship on that simulator, then we just go, I go there and put that in the simulator and then just deliver that to them.
That's the photo. Is everyone seen it?
Yeah.
Yes, you can see it.
That's it. That's the photo. And I have a photo taken on a simulator like this. I took a photo the last time was one of these times I've been to Norway. That's really nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
When Bob and Marcia were visiting me in Olesen, then I took them for a tour in the simulator, and then they can just sit around, drive something. And it's always quite fun because whenever we have real captains that just want to test a new ship, then they just sit and go crazy on the controls and starts crashing on everything, because that's something that you can't really do in real life. But it's, for instance, if you have a car simulator, and then you're gonna try the things that you don't really do in your car, you don't feel safe doing in real life. And that's the beauty of the simulator. I just see people going crazy. It's quite fun.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
Yes. By the way, if I said before, but I think we have more people now. If I am speaking too fast or something's not clear, just tell me, and then I'll try to speak slower, and also I can repeat if something is not clear. So just talk away.
I as well, though.
It is a beautiful video game.
Yes, video game.
It's quite a video
The
game. You have
yes,
to
well,
you have to check it out. Huh? Lucas
what I do
Taibo.
is not different than making a video game at all. We just have to make sure that everything reflects the reality a little bit better than video games, but other than that, is exactly the same.
And you don't
Uh,
kill people.
we don't kill people in this one. It's not as much fun. Or at least I don't play video games for the killing people parts, but I like a good puzzle game
Yeah, that
myself.
I understand you.
Yes, but
How
I
many
when I was
simulations the pilot has to do before official?
that is a great question that I don't have the answer. So, how many hours do they have to pilot a
Yes,
virtual
yes,
before
yes.
they are certified captains? I think it was something around 500 hours, if I'm not mistaken. And then they don't become the captain; they become, for instance, the first mate, and then they're gonna be with a experienced captain before they are allowed to pilot themselves. I don't remember the numbers exactly, but I think it was
Ah,
something
okay,
around 500.
Wow.
okay.
So it's quite arduous training. There's a lot of time that goes into that. When I was back in Brazil, I also worked with making simulations for boats, and then there were a few simulators that we delivered for Petrobras. So it was quite fun. And then I went to Rio and helped some of the installations that they have that are similar to the picture that I showed, a little bit smaller, but then they were just training captains there all the time. It was quite nice. It's quite rewarding to see the work being used like that.
Hi, Michelle. My name is Carol. I am a Bob student. And first of all, I like to say that I know something about elephant because of Bob. And I think
Yep.
that's because you live it here, you live it there. And I want to ask you about how is living in Norway. It's really different than Brazil because of the weather, because of the people. The people were nicer to you because you're a Brazilian, or that's not a problem. Uh, they they were nice with all over the countries.
Hmm. Yeah. One thing that before I moved to Norway, for instance, what I had in mind about Norwegians that they are cold people, that they don't
Yeah.
talk to you, they're very distant, they don't care about what you're doing, and I was absolutely wrong. I think the difference is that they are very reserved until they feel that they are your friend. After that, then they are very good people, very open and warm. They don't hug as much as Brazilians. Then I go hugging around everyone, and I'm that guy that hugs everyone. But I don't think I had many issues with the culture itself. People are just a little bit more reserved, but after you get to know them, then they are basically the same as everyone else. I don't think I ever had problems with people not liking me because I'm Brazilian, for instance, or a foreigner in general. What happens is that I don't speak Norwegian well. I speak English most of the time when I'm here. So me and my fiance, we speak English to each other. With her family, I speak English. At work, I speak English. So I don't really get to practice Norwegian. So I'm pretty sure that my Norwegian's way worse than anyone's English level here. So don't be ashamed, people. Just talk away. But because of that, I see that a few people are hesitant to talk to me because they are shy about themselves. They are not ashamed, but they don't want to say something wrong or don't want to try, let's say, because it is tiresome. It's everybody here knows learning a different language can be quite tiresome. And if you're not prepared for it, if someone on the streets and stops and starts talking English to any of you, it's probably gonna get you by surprise. Here we are all prepared. We know that we're what we're doing. But when I talk to some random people on the streets, then can be a little bit weird for them, and then they don't talk much back. But it's no problems. And here in Norway, everybody learns English from a very young age. So if anyone is about 30, 40 or less, then they speak English quite well. If they're a little bit older, then they may not know English because back then they didn't study English. Another thing that helps a lot here by speaking English is that since the country is so small, all TV shows, everything that they have on TV, internet, they get it in English, and they don't have. It's not dubbed, não é dublado. So they get everything in Norwegian, then with the Norwegian subtitles. Sorry, in English with Norwegian subtitles. So that helps a lot of people to just practice English on a daily basis. So if you're watching Game of Thrones, you get it in English and then watch have the subtitles in Norwegian.
Really nice.
Yep.
I really, it's really different than I imagine. Really different.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised as well when I moved here because I was expecting it to be a big shock. But at the end of the day, people are people anywhere, and then it's easy to connect as much as it is easy to connect in Brazil. Sometimes you may meet a few people that you don't get along well, but that happens everywhere.
I have a
That's
question.
Yes, go ahead.
How is the economic there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question because here in Norway, they have something similar to the pré-sal in Brazil. So they have a long time ago, Norway found out a big oil reserve by the coasts, and then they explored the oil. But what they did was to have what they call oil fund. So let's say they got 1,000 reais from the oil that they sold. Instead of using that to apply for infrastructure or something, they separated, I don't remember, most of the money, and then they are taking parts of it every year. So then instead of having all of the money all at once, they are just dividing it over several years. And then the country can benefit from that quite a lot. It's
Pra
more.
traduzir isso que eu não sei, perguntar para ela assim. A questão tipo, que eu quis perguntar é uma economia mais de livre mercado, onde você tem mais direito de poder investir seu dinheiro, e se ele acha que esse local é um bom local para alocar capital, por exemplo, para passar uma vida lá, é o que eu quis dizer, para investimentos, enfim.
Yes, it is. If you want to live here, definitely.
Ah, ele fala português, né?
Sabia, sim, eu sou filho da Márcia, então pode falar português que eu entendo.
Ah, tá. Ok, continue.
And then I will answer in English, but as I said before, eu vou responder em inglês, mas se não tiver claro, só pede para eu repetir e eu repito. Or I can speak slower as well. Living here, I think it's one of the best places that I have ever been. So if you want to save money and move to Norway, I really recommend that as long as you are able to get a job around here. Investing in Norwegian companies, I don't think that anything is that big here or worth investing. But so it's better, for instance, for a personal life, but not for the financial market, let's say. I don't know if that was your question.
Yeah, that was a good answer. Edivaldo, ele falou que é o melhor lugar que ele já viveu até hoje. Mentira, tá? Mas tudo bem. E ele falou que se você conseguir juntar dinheiro e ir para a Noruega, desde que você seja capaz de arrumar um emprego lá, é uma boa, é muito legal e a economia é estabilizada lá, então você tem condições de viver bem, mas a vida é sempre a vida. Você está vivendo em outro país, né? Tá bom?
I have other. I'm sorry, Mjchel, go ahead, please.
Yes, just a question. Is it better if I say in English and then repeat it in Portuguese afterwards?
No. No worries. Go on. They speak English.
Okay. I'd like. I have other question here. I'd like to know.
Yep.
What was made decision to move to Norway? Because in the world is the other country, there is the same job, the same, I don't know, a major or university, for example. So I'd like to know about it. What your main decision to move to Norway?
Yes. let me just finish one last point from the last question,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and then I'll get to that. No, it's my bad. I didn't finish that, and then I just got sidetracked. One good thing about here in Norway is that you don't have a big difference between jobs, salary-wise. So, for instance, if you get minimum wage, salary minimum, it's almost the same as being a higher level in a company. So, people here work more on what they like instead of what pays well. So it's one thing that I really admire. So I lived in a student city before that had a lot of musicians and artists in general, and they made a living as well as I did working with simulation, working with the maritime industry. So it's a very fair place to the people. So you focus on what you like, not what you not you don't want to. If you don't want to be a doctor, you're gonna have a comfortable life being anything else. About your question, Dennis. Sorry, getting back to that. Uh, it's a very silly reason. I just wanted to go somewhere else to see what else was there. So there's not a strong reason. When I was finishing my master's in Brazil, I asked my former supervisor which places he had connections, because going somewhere, if you have a work that you can do, is much easier than just going for by yourself. And I said, yeah, I have contacts in the US, in China, Canada, Norway. And I was like, oh, Norway, yes. I have never seen snow. That's what I'm going to do. So it's a very impulsive decision, let's say. Wasn't well planned, wasn't the plan of my life, and I regret nothing. It was quite a good decision for me.
And for the sake of this decision, we have to visit him in Norway every single year.
Yes. Now with Corona is a little bit more difficult, but I'm looking forward when I can see you guys again.
Tu já veio ao Brasil?
Think?
He's Brazilian.
Yes. After he had gone there, antes de ele ir para lá, ele já veio 2 vezes aqui depois, né? Depois que ele morou.
Trabalho ou visitação? Trabalho ou visitação?
Yeah, to see the people, de férias.
Yes. Marcia here, she's my mom, ela é minha mãe. So I went back to visit. I went back, or every 2 years I go back to visit her. A cada 2 anos eu vou visitar ela. And then has been going on for a while. I think I've been there 4 times since I moved to Norway. Então acho que desde que eu me mudei para Noruega, eu já fui visitar o Brasil umas 4 vezes, mas eu morei lá até eu ter 26 anos. Morei aí até ter 26.
Peraí, no caso ele nasceu no Brasil. Ele tem alguma outra descendência?
Brasileiro.
Alguma outra descendência alemã, noruegana, seja o que for?
No. I
think you're just Brazilian people, person. Yes.
Yeah, his ascendance is Italian.
Yes, and Japanese. I have both.
Japanese.
So, yeah, Japanese too.
Yeah, I have small eyes. I don't know if you guys can see.
I don't know. I am a typical Brazilian. I am and then mix a lot of religion.
Japonês também,
é?
No, Japanese no.
I'm born in Brazil, lived there for many years, and then I have Italian and Japanese descendancy. Morei no Brasil desde que eu nasci até ter 26. Eu tenho descendência italiana e japonesa. And that's one thing that people ask me a lot when I'm in Norway. They say that I don't really look Brazilian. And then I ask, like, what does a Brazilian look like? Because you can look anything else, like anything, and be a Brazilian.
Yeah.
Brazilian is a mixed.
Yes.
When they place the eyes on me, they say I'm Brazilian. I don't know why. With this Nordic appearance in here, blue eyes and blonde hair. I don't know why everybody says I'm Brazilian. I don't know.
I don't know either. People ask me if I'm Japanese or Asian in general, Chinese, or Southeast Asia. So, for instance, Malaysia, because I have a little bit of a more dark skin because of the Italian parts. But then nobody, almost no one guesses Brazilian.
And Marcia is
Yeah,
very
Dios eyes is a little close. Yes, as I like it.
it's
Yes.
small.
You like anime?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So nice.
Naruto,
And
Dragon Ball.
I took the place of his father. Okay, once the place
Mm.
vacant, so I took the place. All right. So I always, when I refer to you and Fernando, I say my sons, my kids. I
Yeah.
always say that. Ask Marx about it. But it's
Oh
something
yes,
like,
I know.
it's something like this. And you, Cassandra, do you have any question? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Your English is really good.
Well, I work with English as an English teacher I have been working as
Wow.
an English teacher for 20 something years, like 24 years
That's
now.
Mm.
And I'm from Tocantins.
Mm.
Nowadays, I live in São Paulo. And I have this kind of situation as you, Mjchel, because of the eyes. I don't have
Mhm.
Japanese in my family, but I guess I have some indigenous.
Mhm.
So that's why I have this kind of narrow eyes as well, but not as
Yeah.
narrow as Japanese guys,
Mhm.
And well, I am in a career transition now, and I'm not quitting teaching, but I'm spending more time studying other things like cybersecurity matters
Mhm.
subjects, and I keep teaching. I keep 2 or 3 students to keep my English level, to keep my practice. So, uh, well, and you said when you were saying, Mjchel, about the weather, I was thinking about myself because I came from a really hot place. Because the
Mhm. Yeah.
Tocantins is like hot all year long. And then I thought, oh my God, how would be if I were in the Norway,
Mhm.
living there with that 20 minus 24, right? You said
Yes.
minus 24 degrees. I thought, wow, I would be dead for sure. Because here in São Paulo, I'm kind of facing uh, not that much low temperature, but lower than I'm used to.
Yes. But for instance, Bob and Marcia, both of you came here to my city, Doca. Did you guys felt that cold when you were indoors?
No, no. Indoors, we feel like 24, 23 degrees Celsius.
Mhm.
Okay. But outdoors, the thing is, the heat is on. Not the heat indeed, but the heat is on. Okay. But it's nice to have you here, Cassandra. I hope we can count on you more times.
Oh,
This
thank you very
class
much.
This class
Thank you.
happens every month, once in a month. Okay, it's always
Uh-huh.
on the second Saturday, and always at 1 p.m. Huh?
Nice. Yeah. As I'm studying, also studying college and working, I'm really doing hard stuff. I'm really working hard. But Iago was the one who invited me. I met Iago in a group of people, like a brotherhood related to technology of information technology, right? And then we
Mhm.
were talking. I guess I have been talking to Iago for a year or
Right.
something like that. And he has always invited me, but today I could fix my agenda, my schedule to be here.
Mhm.
And it's
Yes.
really a big pleasure to meet you all.
Thank you
Yes.
so much. That's
Thank
always
you.
good, seeing new people, receiving people, and
Mhm.
getting the honor to have one more English teacher here with us. Okay,
This is
make
my
yourself
pleasure.
make yourself comfortable. Osvaldo, do
Thank
you
you
have
very
anything to
much.
ask him? Osvaldinho,
Hello.
Hello.
this is Osvaldinho.
Okay. Now I met your son, Marcia. Uh, okay. I want to change the subject.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'd like to know if you have you ever seen aurora borealis there in Norway?
That is a great
Tell
question
me
because
this experience.
that is one of the things that people
Natalie,
really
join
like
us.
about Norway. The in the part of the country that I am right now, it's a little bit too south, so we don't get to see it from the city itself.
It's on the
But
north.
I lived before a little bit further north, and then there from the city center you could see the northern lights. Oi, Nathalie.
Hello, I'm on
Hello.
duty today. I was kind of invited to be here, but I'm on duty, as you can see.
Get out of town, huh? Natalie is our friend. Is a good friend of ours, yeah, and it's great having you here with us, huh? Because
Thank you very much.
she said, oh, you took Mjchel as a model. Yeah, Mjchel is our interviewed of today. Every single month we take a class like this, with my students and someone who lives abroad or who is from another country, and we keep on doing like this. They making it
July's agenda
different.
is Michel's.
Today's agenda is Michel's.
Okay.
If you have any questions as well, Natalie, just go ahead. But just finishing what Osvaldo was asking about the Northern Lights. I have seen them from the city center in a few of the cities that I lived before. They were a little bit further north. And it's quite amazing because sometimes you are coming home back after being on a bar or going out with friends, and then you just look up and like, oh, it's green, it's purple, it's moving all over the place. It is a very beautiful sight. And so there are a few websites that you can use to track which days is gonna have more or less activity. And then on those days, just keep an eye if you see something on the sky. But there was a Christmas about 5, 6 years ago that I was traveling, and then I went way up north. And then there was almost every day there was northern lights that I could see from the city center. Even though there were lights everywhere, you just look up and then you see, and it's quite amazing. I really recommend it. The big problem with northern lights. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's my curiosity about Norway, and I imagine if I stay there, what you do first? Have you ever made a snowman?
Yes. This year, the cities that I lived before, I lived in Trondheim and Ålesund. Both of them don't get much snow, and then I was super disappointed that I couldn't make a snowman. Now this winter I moved back to the countryside, so it's it's a very small town called Dokka, and then here snows a lot. When the snow started to come, then I went and made a snowman, made a ice hut for my dog as well, so he could have like a place to play. And I was super happy with it. Then after a couple of weeks, and I was already so done with the snow because I think about 1.5 meters of snow, and you have to shovel that either every day or a couple of times a day because it never stops snowing when winter comes.
Yeah, people.
And then
go on, Mjchel.
it is great, but it's super boring if you have to take care of it.
It's interesting.
Imagine.
The city where he lives, it's 2,600 people only. It's a small community.
City.
Yeah, it's a small community there, a small town, and but it's really interesting because it snows all the time. We've been there in Christmas, March and I. There were just the two of us on the streets walking back and forth. everybody were inside the houses, and we looking for something. And it was really difficult to find a place to eat, to find a place to have some coffee, and that was an amazing experience. You have to see it. You have to see it. It's really nice. Okay.
I've got a question about living there. How is it? Is it expensive, the cost of life?
In Norway.
Yes. Living here, it's crazy expensive, and that's why I mentioned before, if you want to live here, then you have to get a job here. Just a second, I have a guest here.
Yeah. Hey, Ghost. Ghost. That's Ghost. Okay.
He gets a little bit curious whenever I'm having meetings, either at work or I'm on the phone with someone. Then he just wants to come and say hello. And he's quite smart. So when he sees that I'm saying goodbye and done with the meeting, then he goes to the door ready to play. He understands that the meeting is over and now it's time to play. But living here is quite expensive. So for instance, one of the things, first of all, that you have to do is to change your diet, let's say, because things that we eat in Brazil, they're expensive here because they're not as normal. But then you have to switch more to potatoes, bread, pasta, this kind of things. So for instance, rice and beans can be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things that we have here every once in a while. And my fiance, she never had rice and beans before, so it was very exotic for her to have rice and beans.
Nice.
As soon as I moved here, I saw on a grocery store 2 bananas. They were selling for about 12 reais.
Wow.
So it can be weirdly expensive.
I'm sorry, Mjchel. What's the price is banana?
Yes.
It's not banana prices. 12 reais, around 12 reais. It's really expensive.
It's yes.
And when he says a few bananas, it's a few bananas. It's 2 or 3. Okay.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. I jokingly like to say that everything is preço de banana, but the banana here is too expensive. So everything here can be expensive.
Wow.
The only thing that I think it's super cheap here compared to Brazil is salmon.
What? Sorry, I didn't get it.
Salmon.
Okay.
Salmon.
Okay. Yeah.
Because everything here is local with salmon. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. In terms of food, Brazilian food, do you like or you cook Brazilian food there? Is it how can I say it? Let me see. I confused my mind. I'm sorry. In terms of the food, the Brazilian food, what do you like and what do you cook in the Norway? Okay, it's a high price, it's not cheap, but you cook like a barbecue or feijoada there, or it's not possible?
It is possible, but for instance, a barbecue here, it's a little bit different on the culture, because when you say that you're having a barbecue, each person that comes to the barbecue brings their own food. So you basically just provide the grill. Otherwise, it's insanely expensive. It's the same with parties in general. So if you're inviting people over and you're going to drink, everyone brings their own food and their own drinks. You can get, for instance, snacks, potato chips, this kind of stuff, but barbecue is not the same event as it is in Brazil. I have made a few barbecues Brazilian style, and but it can be very expensive, so I try not to do that. What I usually do that is quite common in Brazil is rice and beans that people really, really like, and they have never tasted anything like that before. Or, for instance, the fried rice. So, arroz com legumes e ovo. People find that extremely interesting because they only have that in Japanese or Chinese restaurants. And I really like to bake. So, for instance, making bread, that's one thing that I quite enjoy. So I make enroladinho. That's basically a bread roll with ham and cheese in it. And then people just go crazy about it here. It's a quite popular thing. So, in my opinion, it's quite worth to make the typical Brazilian recipes because to everyone else, it's something different that they never had before. And it's always interesting for them to see other people's culture from the food. So if you make something
Nice.
very normal for us, it's something that they never had before, and then either they're gonna love or they're gonna hate. But most of the time, people really enjoy the Brazilian food here in Norway.
Okay, I have an adult question. What about
Yeah,
the beer?
here is extremely expensive.
And
Uh-huh.
You
but
can
nice.
you can get you can get great beer around here. So, for instance, if you go to the supermarket, you get beer, and they have several different options. So, for instance, you don't get in Brazil, you get mostly pills,
Uh-huh.
the Pilsen, but here you can get many different types of beer on any normal store. But the difference here, and it's very weird, was very strange when I moved here. They have a lot of restrictions when it comes to alcohol. So you can only buy it until 8 o'clock during weekdays, until six
Okay.
o'clock on Saturdays, and you can't buy it on Sundays.
And
And
there is a regulation for the amount?
yes, so up to 5%, I think. Then you can get on normal stores. Anything above that, then you have to go on liquor stores, which is something
Oh,
that's from belongs to the government. So
I see.
you, they have something that basically the name translates to wine monopoly, and then that's
Uh-huh.
where you get. So, for instance, vodka, tequila, caipirinha, you can find it here as well. And then it's extremely expensive because on alcohol they have a lot of taxes.
I see.
So
What about say it.
go ahead.
Yeah, what about the restrictions? I mean, is it allowed to have any alcohol beverage on the streets while you are walking, as we can have here in Brazil?
No, you are not allowed, but the rules here are not that enforced. So technically, it's not legal, but the policeman and everyone else will tell you as long as you're not bothering anyone, they won't really stop you. So especially if you're,
Okay.
for instance, in a park or on the beach or anywhere that's not, for instance, a residential area, drinking on the streets, nobody is gonna bother you.
Mm-hmm. That's
It's
really
just
good.
your.
Alessandro, do you have any questions?
Hi guys. Hi Michelle. My name is
Hello.
Alessandro. I have a specific question. I have a son. He is a handball player. He is 17
Mhm.
years old, and she would like to play in Europe, in Norway. And I'd like to know if you tell some advice him about handball to play in Norway, or for example studying abroad and to play handball in a university team. How do you advise? Do you know some handball players, some handball teams? Because Norway is a it's a the handball. I think handball was born in Norway. Is it it or no?
I don't know where handball comes from originally, but I know that people here do enjoy. It's not the most popular sport around, so I think it's quite difficult to find a team to be scouted. It's probably much easier if your son contacts the teams directly. And my biggest advice would be to just learn how to speak English because that's the biggest barrier that they have. The city that I lived before, in Olison, then they had a few Brazilian football players that they just scouted in Brazil. And just by saying that you're Brazilian, then people tend to be very open about having you on their team because Brazil is known to be a very sports heavy country. But I can't give any advice specifically related to handball because I don't know much about it. Uh, you also You also asked about education. Here, I know that a lot of the universities they have courses specifically in English, so it can be a really good way to get into the country, coming here to study instead of coming here to work, for example. But the easiest way to get here is what I did. That's doing a doctorship degree. because then you also get paid to study. Anything below that, then you have to provide for yourself. So you have to get a part-time job and study. And so you have to both study and work, and working without speaking Norwegian is a little bit difficult.
Is it easy to get the visa and the papers to be there?
I can't speak for everyone because I think every case varies a little bit. The biggest problem is to stay here. That's the most difficult part because, as you asked before about the cost of living here, can be a little bit expensive. It's not a cheap country. So if you live here for about 5 years and have a temporary visa, then you can apply for a permanent visa and then you're allowed here anytime.
Nice.
Personally still don't have the permanent visa because I forgot to get it. And then I have to do a test, a written and spoken test. There's an oral exam, there's a written part of the exam, and I haven't done the one of the written parts of the exam. So after I get that, then I'm just gonna switch to a permanent visa, and then I don't have to worry about renewing it every 3 years.
I see. Nice. Guys, I'm really sorry. I need to go because I have a class now in 3 minutes. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Iago, thank you very much for the invitation.
Thanks.
Michelle, Bob,
It's
Marcin, was
always a
everybody.
pleasure, Cass.
It was really good to talk to you. Thank you very much for having me here. See you
Okay.
later, guys.
So
Bye-bye.
yeah,
See you,
see you
Cass.
anytime.
You, bye bye.
Bye-bye,
Okay,
guys.
people. That's
Bye-bye, Cass.
the clue for our the end of our class. Okay. And I'd like you to tell something. If you have a message, Natalie, if you have anything to speak to the top model up there, please let us know. As you don't know, but Natalie is an English teacher too, and I'm very honored to have you here with us. She promptly I sent her the invitation. She accepted, and it's really nice having
Here
you
I am.
here with us in here. Okay,
Thank you very much. It was
yeah,
very good.
you don't have to worry about it. Okay, we thank you for your kind participation with us in here. Always enrich. Okay.
I miss all of you. I miss Marcia. Hi, teacher Marcia. She will be forever my teacher. Marcia was my teacher like 20 years ago. Can I say it? And so Mjchel, we have a really great partnership. We're friends since many years ago. So it's thank you very much. It was we had a great time the last time you came to Brazil, right? And we haven't spoken so often, but every time that we do it, it's always amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If I have 1 minute, Bob, can I just say one thing that I forgot to say? And I really do miss a lot since Natalie was talking about last time I was in Brazil. We went for a padaria, so a bread shop, coffee shop. And that is something that we don't have here. So I miss Brazilian food quite a lot. I can make a lot of things at home, but they don't have coxinha, and that is something that I miss a lot.
Pão de queijo?
Pão de queijo. I managed to get some of the ingredients to make pão de queijo here, made some at home, and it was great, but then it ended after a while. So now I miss it again. I have to find some way to find it locally, but it's quite difficult.
It's quite difficult.
You don't really find the polvilho.
The last time we ate stroganoff there, we ate stroganoff made with reindeer meat. It was not cow or no cattle meat. That was reindeer. Imagine Santa Claus must be cursing us up to up to date for the sake of it. But it's just quite it's always quite a good experience to be there to see. For us, Marcia and I, everything is brand new. Huh? And we always get there. We always eat the salsichão do norueguês also. That's very nice. And it's always an experience there. It's always a good experience. Okay, guys, do you have any question more? Do you have anything else, any consideration? Someone let the microphone open. Okay, do you have any consideration, anything you would like to say, to ask, that would be the last one.
Can I ask something? Like,
yes, go ahead.
Well, I have some things to ask, but I'll ask this thing. So like, well, what are the pros and cons of living there? Like what do you consider the best thing and the worst thing? And also, like about electronics, if it's cheap or expensive. About the climate change, I think you told that a city there doesn't snow a lot. I don't know. I have heard from people that I know internet that it doesn't have snow a lot lately. So I just want to know about it.
Yes. The biggest pro here is that it's a very calm country. So, for instance, you can just walk around on the streets without worrying about your safety. There's no craziness to go to work. So, for instance, when I was in São Paulo, it took me about an hour and a half to get to work and then 2 hours to get back. When I was in Trondheim or Ålesund, there was always half an hour because that's the length of the city. It doesn't take longer than that to take a bus and cross the city. But the biggest one for me is that everything is so safe. So whenever I'm out with my friends here, people just leave the cell phones on their table while they go to the bathroom, and nobody touches it. Nobody's gonna mess with anything. And then afterwards, you can just walk home and get there safely without having to worry about anything. The biggest problem here that I find is that it can be quite expensive, as we said before. So if you just get a few things here and there, if you go out very often, then you're gonna need a lot of money. And you also asked about the electronics, Vinny. Here is not cheaper than in Brazil. I think it's more or less the same price because in Norway they tend to have everything a little bit expensive, on the expensive side. I was also looking to buy a new car, but I gave up on that because the cheapest one that I could find was about 150,000 reais. And then that's for instance, the equivalent to the most cheapest popular car that you can find in Brazil. So things here can be expensive. The same thing for houses. Everything goes for at least about 1,000,000 reais.
Oh, so it's basically the same or a bit more expensive.
Electronics, so for instance, let's say cell phones, video games, everything is more or less the same prices in Brazil. And then bigger things, houses, cars, they are definitely more expensive.
Okay, yeah. I get it. Thank you.
Yes. So, for instance, it's much easier to ask, for instance, if you have someone in the United States that you know that's traveling there, it's super popular to ask them to bring a lot of, let's say, muamba back to you, to Brazil. So I'm waiting for anyone that I know here to go to the US so they can bring cheap electronics back because it's crazy expensive here.
Oh, I get it.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, I know that's almost the end of the meeting. So if anyone have any questions that they want to ask or they think about anything later, you can always send a message to Bob. He will relay the message to me, and then I'll answer. I'm always up for some conversation.
Okay. And the last consideration is to thank you so much, Mjchel. It's always nice seeing you. We miss you a lot. And inviting you for another time. The next time I'd like to invite your fiancé. People love to talk to her, and she loved to talk to him, to them. So we're gonna invite Heidi as our next interviewer for the if she, I know that she's not in there. She's out there, is somewhere else. But whenever I can, on Monday, I sent her a message so we can agree to bring her to our meeting again.
Yes, when I told her that you invited me to be here today, then she was like, "Oh, but I wanted to be there. I wanted to participate." It was quite fun. She loves talking to people, and she was very happy about it.
Okay. Okay, kids. See you. Bye bye. Ah, that's a bell. Okay. Well, take a look at that. That's a bell. A bell came to say hi. Okay. And people, thank you so much for being here. Natalie, Dennis, Osvaldo, Marcia, and Iago, Vini, Alessandro. I thank you so much. I did appreciate it. Okay. Some people had to go before, but that's it. That's life. Okay? See you,
Okay,
people.
so
Bye bye,
bye.
Thank
Michelle.
you, everyone.
Bye,
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Michelle.
Have a
Bye,
good day.
Michelle. Nice to meet
See
you,
you, Michelle.
Michelle.
Take care.
Bye-bye, Sam.
Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Have a good week.